Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Standing for Greatness in the Mile High, where we're looking to inspire and be inspired from leaders in the industries or people that just affect people and communities everywhere they go. And so, again, right here from underneath our very own roof is Brandon Sylvia, one of the greatest guys I know here personally at the Red Rock family. And we are just looking to get to know Brandon a little bit more today and let him tell you about what makes him stand for greatness. And so, Brandon, thank you for joining us today. How you doing today?
Good.
Good.
Excited to be here.
Awesome. You were just telling me you're a late night guy. 11 p.m. is what you're in your greatest clarity. So how are you feeling right now that it's 10 a.m.?
Feeling good, feeling good. Mornings are nice, but nighttime is when I get to relax and be more reflective, gain clarity, read, which is my meditative zone. So mornings I'm like in work mode and I'm locked in on that.
Awesome.
But this is work related, so I'm
Okay.
locked in.
All right. So a little bit about Brandon. Brandon has been with the team for about 2 years now and is a little bit of a superhero in my eyes, and has done some things, what I've always called as an anomaly. Been able to come into an unknown industry, knowing nothing about it, but making huge changes, showing people, setting the bar in an incredible way, impacting people everywhere you go, whether it's your customers, our very own employees, myself including, always a bright light and a salt of the earth everywhere you go. And so, Brandon, when I call you a superhero, one of those reasons is because you talk a lot about mindset, and if anything, your superpower is your mindset. And so one of the things I just want to start off with is, when you hear the term standing for greatness, which is our motto, and the, what we're naming this podcast here, which is standing for greatness in the Mile High. When you hear that word, what does that mean to you, and how do you operate under those terms on a daily basis? Like what moves you and what inspires you in that way?
Yeah. So the thing with us is, and I tell customers this all the time when they're working with us, but roofing companies, contractors, like things can go wrong sometimes. And I think what separates us big time is that if something were to happen, we always take care of the customer. If the customer needs assistance from us, we're there for them. It's not like things are just being, subbed out to some cheapest bid, and then if something goes wrong, we can't go back to fix it and everyone's pointing fingers. I think the accountability aspect we have in our company to make sure we do the right thing every single time for the customer is what separates us and what standing for greatness means to me. And that's how we can maintain good reviews, right? And good testimonials, is that making sure everything goes perfectly smooth, but if something were to happen, we take care of it. And it's just really good communication, having our good supervisors on site. And really, that's what standing for greatness means to me.
No, I appreciate that. And Brandon, I think even on a deeper level, like you kind of came in and you were able to kind of fall right under the umbrella of what we stand for as a company. But even as a person from day one, when I met you, I believe that was a value that you encompassed, and maybe you didn't call it standing for greatness, but it's something that you've always carried. Tell like everybody a little bit more about like you personally, like what has inspired you in your life and brought you to this place where you just kind of naturally embrace that slogan, from maybe the time you were young, or when did you discover like that was the person you wanted to be? Because in an industry where a lot of people are very money driven, or integrity doesn't always mean anything, and people try to uphold it, but for someone who does and does it very well, and dude, truly you inspire like a lot of people. Like I said, even me. Like,
Thank you.
tell me more about like that outside of roofing.
Yeah. All right. We're going deep. I think my greatest motivator is death, honestly. Like the fact that we're going to die someday, and if you zoom out a little bit, we're going to be dead a lot longer than we're alive. So we're really just dead people on vacation, right? So while we're here in this little fragment of time, like we always have a choice on how we respond to things, how we react to things, and we have influence one way or another, whether that's good or bad. So if we always have the choice, why not choose the route where we can have a greater impact, love more, share wisdom, gain wisdom, learn from other people, right? Like as human beings, I feel like we are placed here and we all have a purpose and a mission. And I think it's all of our responsibilities to figure out what that is. And for me, I want to connect with people. I want to spread love. I want to spread wisdom. I want to inspire people. And like the lemon of life, I want everyone to be able to squeeze it and get a real taste of what it's like to have the human experience, right? So for me, like, I think that's what it is every day, how can I be 1% better? Because me being 1% better every day means that the world, like, as I help myself, I get to help the world more. And if everyone has that attitude, then everyone's helping each other a little more, everyone's connecting a little more, and not making about, them, like, victim. It's just, hey, actually, how can I be of service more? Like, what can I do more for other people?
And I will say, knowing you personally, I have seen you not only just talk that out, but walk that out. And I would say for anybody that gets a chance to, like, spend 5 minutes with Brandon, you're going to hear some quote. This guy's like a walking book of, like, motivational quotes. And I don't know how many he has, but there's a million stored up there. You doesn't even have to go through the book to see them. They're all stored there. But you are definitely full of motivational quotes, and everywhere you go. And I love seeing you actually act and walk those out. And so, it's funny. You're in your 30s. I'm married. 2 kids, and I'm just about to be 44. And I think as I've gotten older, it's funny. You mentioned death. It's like that invincibility factor we have when we're young kind of goes away, and you start to feel things, and your heart, maybe your chest hurts for a minute, and you're thinking about death a lot at some point, and you do start to think, like, okay, if I were to die today, like, how do I want that last day to be, and how many people do I want at my funeral, and what do I want people to say about me? Was I giving or caring? And somebody once told me, it's like, people never remember what you had or what you did. They'll always remember how you made them feel, right? Whether it's through a genuine act of kindness or a smile or whatever. So I can certainly relate to what you're saying, especially as I get older, and hopefully I'm only halfway there.
Well, we all have so many emotions, right? And you have kids, so, like, you've probably seen Inside Out with all the different emotions.
Yeah.
Beautiful movie with such a great message. But, like, that's what life is like, we're filled with emotion, and what emotion is to me is energy in motion.
I knew that would come up at some point. If you weren't going to bring it up, I was going to.
We're gonna hit all the lines, right? And how can we tap into the energy that's in motion every day, right? And that's how you can encapsulate the human experience better and figure out what your purpose is and your mission is. You have to tune into your emotions, and that's what your daily habits are. That's what your actions are, and the ripple effect of who we are as people, right?
Yeah, and it's what emotion are we feeding, right? So, like you said earlier, like, everything we have, like, is a choice, right? Like, do we go left or do we right? Do we do the right thing or the wrong thing? And I feel like it's like, just like anything, if you feed it more, that emotion will grow bigger. So if you're doing the right thing and you're either feeding gratitude, right? We talk a lot about gratitude. There's some people, I'll back up real quick. One thing I love that you're headed towards is really, like, the journey. I was talking to somebody recently, and they always want to acquire more, but when they have acquired more, it's still not enough. And I'm like, you've acquired more than anybody I've ever seen, especially at your place in life, and you still are just trying to acquire more. So at what point is the goal not enough or not enough, versus can you just see what's right in front of you and enjoy the journey and be grateful? And you're so blinded in trying to get somewhere that you're missing the opportunities. And not to say this person isn't kind and genuine and caring about people, but
the one who loves to walk will walk further than the one that just wants the destination, right?
Yeah.
So the journey,
instant gratification type thing.
The journey is where the fun is at.
Yeah.
The destination is cool, but it's the end point, right? So it's like the journey is the present moment that is moving forward. You want to be able to, like, be inspired by the journey to get somewhere, but once you get there, you want to figure out, hey, what did I learn on that journey, and then how can I take it to the next place that I'm trying to go?
Yeah, and how can I use that journey as a funnel to pour into either
or
people
teach
in
someone
front of me or behind me or ahead of me, right?
Okay, I did it. Now, like, there was different paths. Which paths do I recommend, right? Like, those walking back from the success, you can learn from that person. That's what wisdom is, right? Like, we're not just born with wisdom as geniuses. Maybe some people are, but you learn as you go. Wisdom is gained from experience, right? So and like you said, I have all the lines, and that's wisdom from years and years, thousands of years, right? Like a smooth sea never created a skilled sailor. You have to go through different things to learn from that person, or those who are successful, ask them when they are walking back after they achieve, because they're going to tell you everything they did to get there.
Yeah, it's easy to see the guy who's successful thinking and wondering how, oh look, but they never saw what it took. And I always say muscles don't grow unless they're put under pressure. But
Have you ever heard the story of like the wolf, like the two wolves, and whichever one you feed, and it's your mind?
I feel like that's a little bit what I was saying, but no,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it reminded me of exactly what you were saying, and I'm paraphrasing it, so I don't know exactly what it is, but
Notes, yeah.
there's an old parable, and it's a little boy talking to his grandfather, and he's talking about everyone has two wolves in their lives, and they're constantly battling each other, and the little boy's like, well, which one wins? And he's like, well, the one that you feed the most. And he goes deeper into each wolf resembles our lives in terms of, one is like jealousy, envy, worrying, anxiety, and greed and selfishness, and the other one's love, wisdom, courage, perseverance, leadership, stewardship. I feel like you're big with stewardship.
It's funny you're saying these. It's I'm in a men's Bible study and we're just reading Galatians 5:16 Monday, and we're talking about exactly, do you live under the flesh, which is, drunkenness, all these things you just mentioned, or the fruits of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, selfness, and they're in conflict with each other. And so even personally lately, I've been mindful of, it's, okay, if I'm going down this road mentally and as a person of faith, it's like, or even coveting, like, do I want something that's out of God's will, or do I want to revert that to self-control? And if for men, normally self-control is usually, quick to anger, coveting, looking at somebody or looking at something and having a desire or something like that. And so it's like we have to quickly take our minds and shift it to the other wolf, right? The wolf that is spirit-filled, and and focus on that. And when you feed the Spirit, you're strengthened. And one story I always loved is, I remember a long time ago, we had this visionary of somebody on a table, right? It's like, okay, you're filled with this, you're doing good, and you got somebody below you, and let's say you're hanging out with them. You stand down here and you stand up there and pull each other, and even though you're stronger than this person, who gets pulled where? This person pulls you down, right? And because they've got the leverage. And so unless you've been working out every day, spiritually extremely sound, and really dialed in, you are not in a place to try to pull a lot of people up. So you have to be really mindful and conscientious of where you put yourself with people and places and things, so that leverage doesn't pull you down. And so I think it all kind of goes together about, what are you feeding, and where are you positioning yourself, and where are you placing yourself, and where are you letting your mind go? And a lot of that's part of that too. It's like, even just your mind could be the thing that's feeding, not necessarily even your actions. So, and that's something you're really good at, is mindset. Once again, like I said, I think that's your superpower, is like really quickly shifting your mind, which has made you, I didn't get into like his success story of, coming into the industry when everybody else says, oh, it's hard out there, it can't be done, I can't do it. I've gone through lots of guys that's just like, there's nothing out there. It's just, real estate, whenever the market's slow and people are slow, they always have a reason why it can't be done. Brandon says, let me show you why it can be done. Comes in and shows you, not just once, not just twice, but day after day after day, says, you just got to have a mindset to say, I can do it. So, for instance, you got a guy knocking doors who thinks, oh, I knocked on 10 doors, there's nothing, this neighborhood's no good, let's go home, and he makes 0 for the day, right? Like, let's just use this for an instance. Whereas Brandon would be someone who says, hey, I knocked 10 doors, there's nobody home, but on the 20th door, I'm going to get somebody. It pays me, let's say, $600 to $1,000. So those 20 doors I didn't knock, those each made me $30 a door.
Yep.
That's the difference in mindset that I see in Brandon, that tries to convey that to people, but that's hard to do. So my next question is, we're going to shift gears. Thank you for all that depth, wisdom, and getting to kind of like go back and forth with some of that. But are people born with these gifts, do you think? Are they created over time? Is it something that somebody instills in you? Is it experiential based? And what gets you there? And at what point did you get there in your life? I mean, I have my own testimony, right? And I have my past. And I love that you said like a smooth sea. I mean, there's a million different ways you can state that. But with that being said, what was your story to get to this place mentally in your life? When did you first discover your superpower, and who gave it to you, or how did you get it? Or are you born with it?
Well, Mother's Day just happened, and
okay.
And I'll say, like, are people born with this, or do people develop it? For me, I think it's a mix of both. Like, I text my mom from time to time and just thank her about, you know, who she's been to me, like the love I carry throughout my day. I learned from her. She also gave me this book called The Secret when I was younger, and
I remember that book when that first came out.
Yeah, it was huge.
Probably like 2005, 6-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was this massive book. I had no idea. My mom just gave it to me, and that's when I first learned about energy manifestation. And this is when I was in school. And the schooling system, completely different story. We could have a whole topic on, but it's designed a certain way that doesn't allow people to explore how smart they really are, right? Like, it's not how smart are you, it's how are you smart. Everyone is smart in their own way and has their own strengths.
Yeah.
And once I tapped into just the abundance of life, which the schooling system can make you feel like you're not good enough for life if you're not getting good grades, or they have their standard testing and whatnot. So once I realized the abundance of the universe and that anything is possible, and that the grade is solely based off of how much kindness you're providing, love you're providing, how are you helping other people, and you can get an A+ with that every day, that is the true school system, and that's life, right? So I think a mix of my mom just being an amazing woman without starting to cry and getting emotional, but a mix of my mom, but also the development of trying to see the world in a different view, right? Like, I'm a creative person, and it's a little bit of like a rebellious thing of like, hey, I don't want to conform to something that is like decent. How can I make this a little bit better? You know, so reading books though is everything. So I would say that in even business, like business is really personal development disguised as a job. The more you pour into yourself, the better your business is going to do, the better your relationships are going to be. So being a student to life is huge. I think reading books is a major part of my mindset.
I heard you say the word rebellious, and I'm just curious. Most leaders I know, including myself, like, you know, I we won't get into my whole past, but did you find yourself in school, because you brought up school and kind of like the challenges with that? I think most leaders kind of often rebel authority because they're driven into a path that they know is going to get them somewhere, and obviously it's bumpy along the way because of the rebellion to authority, because the school sees it as this is what you need to be doing to be successful, do this, go to college, and it's all, you know, related to this in this box, right? And so were you someone in school that kind of like maybe had a little rebellion, you know, you saw those leadership qualities young, but then had to go through that path? Like, was that you at all?
Yeah. Well, as like an entrepreneur or a leader, you're trying to see like, hey, how can I fix problems, right? Like, we get paid for the problems that we're solving.
Or don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, or don't tell me what to do unless it works, right? Unless it's like, because then it's wisdom, and wisdom is good for everyone. But I think, yeah, like as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as someone who's just trying to level up in the schooling system, you're seeing, hey, you know, I'm seeing people being bullied right now, or hey, I'm seeing students that aren't getting it and they're not getting the assistance to see it the right way. Like, sometimes if you just don't know, like if you have no relative way to connect with the problem that you're solving in the school equation or like a test, you're never going to get it figured out, and you of course you will get a bad grade, which then leads to you might not understand the next subject. So once you can connect to something, that motivates you to do better. So I think like the schooling system doesn't understand how like humans actually operate, and it's more of the structure that's just grading you based off of their own agenda, right? And
I could see how maybe as you're talking about this, and we might even just go down this rabbit hole, but I'm going to try to keep that from happening. Is like, you got these probably, I don't know what age they'd be. I don't know, maybe boomers. I have no idea. But like, it almost feels archaic where now it's like we have all the tools that can do the homework for them. Like I'm watching my daughter in high school and like they have Chat BGT now. Like guys, like you can turn in your homework late. It's all on an iPad. You can have the answers right there. You don't have to go looking for it anymore. Just literally copy it and paste it and turn it in, like, and so I wonder if now, like you're saying, like, I think should the schools more gear towards the things that kids are really facing to push them in a position to be successful, which is mindset. Like, are we talking about time on the phones versus, sex ed? They have access to every bit of information. So how do we pivot in the schooling system to maybe educate about things that are really actually more relevant in today's society that kids are dealing with and are actually going to push them to be more successful, like the bullying, friendships, inner circles, phone usage, drive,
you learn
mindset.
You learn from hands-on, right? Like, and you learn from doing. And here we are. I mean, that's the line of work we do too. So like, we have our training and we have our people with ton of wisdom to be able to teach. But when you go out in field, you can learn a lot better too. And yeah, the schooling system is based off of books, right? So I think, well, like, how can we figure out a way to teach people better? And that's just the mindset that I have. And I think and there's schools that do that too. I don't know what they're called. I think there's like, but like they do gardening and they do all this.
STEM schools.
Yeah, and they do all like the hands-on.
Engineering, science, technology, engineering, math.
Yeah, and every subject is relatable to some like life skill that you will come across someday.
Yeah, and I love that.
That's the best way to learn.
More hands-on. Yeah, I tell you that. People are always like, training here. I'm like, I could pull somebody in a classroom 8 hours a day, and the minute they get out in the field, they're going to go, I have no idea what I learned, but I'm going to know it as soon as I put my hands on it and have to solve that problem on my own or in the midst of something. So I can agree with that more. So let me ask you this. It's I'm seeing this thing. It's like, you hear these things. It's like The Secret, right? When The Secret came out, right? Like, how much, I know you've been going to church and things like that. Yeah. How much would you find these things that you do? It's like The Secret. It's like, how much of that is like God? And like, as I was thinking earlier, we're talking about when you do the right things. And I've always found is like, when we're not chasing the money, but we're chasing our priorities. Yeah. God has always said, like, when you're faithful with little, you'll be given much more. Like, I find that true with me. I mean, you made a comment earlier, like, when do you leave at like 10 a.m. a day? Like, you go to work from what, like 8 to 10? And I'm like, it's a little longer than that, but God has blessed me because I've put my daughter and my family and like my health and some of these other things in priority, and then efficiency on the side of that, and then surrounded myself with really great people that we all believe in each other. And I encourage that for everybody too. I mean, how many times have I told you, like, don't work late, go with your wife, here's like, go on a vacation, like, here, I'll give it to you. Like, I really encourage that because when we do that right, and we all do that, A, we don't burn out, B, we see the value of what we're doing as something greater than just the money, and that what keeps us here. And I have found the importance because, especially being a father, those are times I can never get back. I know you and Kelsey, but those moments and those memories we can't get back. But the money, when you focus on those things, you see that the money just continues to come in because I believe provides. So I'm tracking off here, but how much does religion play, would you say, just knowing that you do go to church and this and that, how much does God play a part in your thought process and kind of what you're doing?
Yes, this makes me think of a few things. So one, going back to my mom, I grew up Catholic and no idea what was going on in church because I was so little.
It was boring.
And it's just, like, that's what I remember as a kid. But what I really remember is praying with my mom every night, and it was a very spiritual act of connecting with her and in this conversation with God and the universe. And you're praying for healing, you're praying for love, you're praying for the things you want, which is to a degree manifestation as well, right? My mom instilled all of this into me. And honestly, seeing you as a leader, as a business owner, as a successful person and you inspire me, you're the only person I know who actually leads by example of like, the whole point isn't for financial wealth, right? That's a byproduct of doing the right thing every time and building a great business. But the real wealth is in your family.
Yeah.
And the real wealth is your spirituality and what you get to do with your time, right? And I feel like since I've been here, we've created systems that help us do that, right? Systems.
Efficiency, right?
Systems.
Efficiency buys time.
Systems is an acronym. Save yourself stress, time, energy, and money. And you really embody that. Most owners are going to say, hey, you know, what's your quota? Like the quota, you got to hit this, the numbers, you got to do blah, 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 micromanage. And who does that benefit? It benefits the owner. Yeah. But you care about people's spiritual lives with work, their family, and their life. And when you can work on all of those things, the magic happens, right?
It's the byproduct. The money is always the byproduct of something else.
Yeah.
Whether it's greed.
Well, pouring into yourself and your family.
The other part, right? Like.
Yeah. But I will say, I've been going to church every Sunday, a Christian-based church where,
yeah. Tell me the name of that again.
Little funner. I go to New Hills.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're a little bit newer, and I used to go to Red Rock's church because it was closer, and which is Red Rock Roofing.
I love it. I love Red Rock's church. Those guys are great.
Yeah, amazing people, but also the serendipity of the universe is funny. You know, that was my church, and I'm working here too, and just the connections that can happen. But that's an amazing church. It's just a little bit further from me now, so New Hills is where I go, but. The message at both of those churches is beautiful, and it's a place where people can go and surrender and trust the universe, right? Like, we come here to this podcast, we sit in this chair, we're not like worried that the chair is going to fall or break or anything. We fully have faith in this chair.
Yeah.
We sat down with no anxiety, actually knowing it's going to be super comfy. And if you can have that same faith with God in your life and that things are going to work out for you, like, your life is going to be infinitely better. So I'll say that my relationship with God and going to church does play a huge factor and has been, but also seeing you as a Christian man who inspires me. You know, religion is a funny thing. It's been around for a long time. It's been used for political gain. It's been used for different things. But when you can love and lead like Jesus, which is what I see in you, it will inspire everyone to want to do the same. How can we extract better leadership from our greatest leader of all time, you know? And the thing is I don't think Jesus wanted to be the greatest of all time, but when you embody such amazing things, that's just, again, the byproduct. So if you can create your life in such a beautiful way that the byproduct is something good, you're all set. Don't worry about the byproduct. And guess what? If you never even got the byproduct, you lived a beautiful life that you were fertilizing every day and bearing fruit for everyone in your life, and everyone gets to experience that. That's the byproduct right there.
Yeah, I think it's like I said earlier, it's like you'll know how you make people feel. And I mean, Jesus came for one reason, and it was for sacrificial love. I mean, you know.
Question for you, because you do have so much grace for people, you have so much love. And when I go to church and I'm learning about Jesus and, you know, who he was as an actual person, I think of you, and I text you after church on Sundays, and I thank you for everything. So, like, what would you say, like, your connection is with the leadership of Jesus, but also, like, your connection and how that plays with your life and business?
You know, I think this is where it would be me getting into my past, you know. I'm going to do, like, real good, just quick cliff notes, but, like, I've told you a little bit, but, you know, I grew up in foster families. You know, my dad, you know, my mom was really young. My dad took off. I still don't know the full story, even though I can today get him in the same room as of a couple of years ago. But I went through, you know, growing up, not being, you know, I would have a black trash bag packed with clothes, and I would go to the next family. And then, you know, I was young. I went to a Catholic school, and I was with the family, and, you know, and my foster family. And guys, I'm sorry if anybody's watching this that sees this, and I love you today, and we're still close. But, like, my foster dad was an alcoholic, and that divorce was happening. And so my foster dad, I had to go to the next family. and that family ended up being like hardcore biker drug dealers and like had like
Wow.
giant snakes roaming around, and like, we lived in a really rough part of town. And next thing you know, I was packing my bags again. And as I got older, I ended up back with my real mom, who had remarried a stepdad who, you know, right now has stage 4 cancer, but never showed up for anybody for anything. I grew up in a 950 square foot home
Mm.
through high school with 3 brothers and sisters. And I was, my room through high school was in a garage, half a garage, with concrete floor and a washer and a dryer, and my closet was a broomstick, and that was my high school days.
Yeah.
So like growing up like that. And so at some point, because I was just kind of like always neglected, I was a special kid, and I know that now, but it really took me through a long road of destruction, of trying to find where I fit in at some point. But like, there's a point in time where a family up the street would come pick me up and take me to Awanas and take me to church and take me to youth group. And like, I had this like God poured into my life, and I knew, because I was like always alone and always trying to figure out my own life, like God said he'd always be a father to the fatherless. And so at some point in my life, I knew I had this special connection with God, and it's available to everybody. But like I said, God said, I'll be a father to the fatherless. You are like my special people.
Mm.
And so I found this gift of like, not only so many people struggle, like I pray to God, I talk to God, but I don't hear anything. And it's like most conversations is because like you don't shut up long enough to listen, right? Like you're just so ready to, like, your mind's so active. And I was able to go, God, I can hear.
Yeah.
And I knew it was God, because he'd say, I love you, son. I see you, son. I forgive you, son. And I always got you. And I mean, I did everything under the sun to get me away from God, but God was like, I'm not letting you go. And I knew at some point I'd come full circle. But accountability is a word you mentioned a long time ago, and it isn't until we become accountable of our own actions in our own life and things like that. And through time, kind of like skipping forward, like I met my real dad a couple of years ago. I met some other brothers and sisters that we didn't know each other existed. But through all the grace God gave me, and through knowing that God has a plan for our life, my favorite verse has always been Jeremiah 29:11. For God knows the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, but plans to give you hope in the future. And I always grabbed onto that. And even finding this career, it's funny, many years ago, I always told people, like, I can never own my own business. I'm the type of person that just has to be told what to do. That's my style. I just want to show up. And I was
That's
working
called
in
an
this.
intrapreneur. So there's entrepreneurs, which you are as well, but intrapreneur,
And I never
people
knew it.
flourish in businesses too.
And I never knew it, but I was always good at what I did. I mean, I've always had drive. It's just I had to, I had to kind of settle down in life at some point. And God has given me so much grace in life. I was sitting on the bed praying one day, like, hey, I had met my current wife, and I had my stepdaughter, and I was like, God, this isn't going to be enough to provide. And I was praying on a bed one day, and my phone rang, and a buddy said, hey, you want to get into roofing? Dude, I don't know anything about roofing. Long story short, I take it, learn that I do have entrepreneur skills, was able to grow this business, and here we are today, many years later, and the business is, grown to what it is. But my faith, the grace that I give to people, and I know it frustrates people here, especially because,
I love it. I love
people
it
do
about
a
you.
lot of things here that other people would say, why? But normally it's the other people. Normally it's somebody saying, look at him, that normally has to look at themselves as well.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the verse. Take the log out of your own eye before trying to take the speck out of your brother's. And normally that's the case. And so another gifting I feel like God has granted me is
You see the good in everyone.
you can see past people's mess because I was there, and you can see the potential, and you have the heart. Sometimes people need somebody to believe in you, to guide you, to lead you. And God said, well, what if we mess up 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? He said, try 77 times, like 77 times, which is like thousands of times.
Yeah.
That's how many times I'm going to give you grace. And so if God's going to give us that much grace, which he's given to you, which he's given to me and everybody else, why would we not extend that to each other if we want to keep expecting it? So in essence, it's like, that's not my battle. Let's work on that. Most people, unless it's like, I've had people come in and they've gotten caught with drugs. There's just things that you can't accept in a homeowner's house. There's things that are going to happen in here where you're like, that's moldable, it's changeable, it's workable, and we're all got our own problems because we're a messy family. And so, who are we to point the finger at each other than to preach, not to preach, but to pray or to present prosperity or perspective or whatever it else is that we can do for somebody. So, I mean, that's really what it comes down to is if we've been given grace, who are we to not extend it? And God is very clear about that in the Bible. And it's always shown true in my life that that can be a thing. And, you know me, I'm a very giving person. And once again, it's like, dude, it's not our money. And when we pretend like it's our money, and that's like the people that are after the goal, it's like when we pretend like we have control or when we pretend like it's our money and we don't give it, and we have to be good stewards of it, obviously.
Well, that's a scarcity mindset too,
It's
right?
a scarcity mindset.
Because you think there's not enough, so you want it all. But really, God has provided everything to us, right? He died for us to enjoy the fruits of this life here. And knowing that is the abundance mindset, and I think we're all facilitators of God's work. So who are we to prevent that from anyone else?
Unfortunately, America is really bad too about like what's on commercial, what's on social media. Like I don't do social media, you all know that about me, but like what's out there in America especially is to drive business to big companies or any company to get you to buy. And so we always feel like we need more. But did you know you're in like the top 1% or half percent, like you're in the top 1.5% of the world in income, right? Like when we stop to think about like where we are at logistically, income, and Colorado's an expensive state. We live in these expensive areas, but like when we just keep trying to acquire more, there was even a point in my life that happened a couple years ago that just, I had to look around me and go, we just got to be content with what we have. People are always trying to get bigger and better and do more, and it's like I love the opportunities, but the opportunities I create are for memories, for our team, for my family, and things like that. So, getting off topic, though.
Quality
Thanks
over
for asking. Quality over
quantity. Quality over quantity.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because of that, we end up getting more quantity, right? Like that's how we get referrals, and that's how we get loyalty from people too, who really advocate for us, who want to spread the word and give us more business. So. Yeah, there's a formula, and it comes from the heart,
Yeah.
And if you leave, and that's the other thing about you is that, we have our heart and we have our minds, and you have to invest in your mind, but you have to live with your heart because the heart always knows what to do. The brain is indecisive. It will talk you out of it, and it thinks of 1,000 things that are going on. And yeah, with the media and things like that helps us have squirrel brain, but the heart always knows what's true.
The heart has to slow you down and stop. While the brain is like, the heart sometimes has to slow you down and go, what's the right thing here? What's the right thing?
How does it feel?
Yeah, or how does this
feel? How are other people going to feel?
Yeah. I love like where we're going with all this. I want to go back to like probably logistical stuff about you and leadership and the roofing and kind of land on that. We'll land the plane there. But like you've brought up your mom a lot of times. What's her name? What's she like? Where does she live? What's your relationship like with her? What was she like? Like,
yeah. Oh man, you can get me all teary-eyed. Well, her name's Paula.
Right.
I view her as an angel on this earth.
You can get me teary-eyed. Don't do that.
Yeah, she's.
Is she alive?
Yeah,
Okay.
She's alive. Yeah.
East Coast?
She's alive. She's in Massachusetts.
You miss her? You live out here,
Yeah,
is that? Yeah.
But we talk often, and anytime I call her, it's the perfect time, right? Like we have this connection that makes me realize that connection is available to anyone. And I think that's the thing is like my connection with her that's just the roots that she has for her family. She's the provider. She's super strong. She's super resilient. And she's shown me that anything's possible, and she did it for us. Everything, and sacrificed everything. So
I don't hear much about your dad. Like, tell me, like.
Yeah, I love my dad. I love my dad a lot, but my mom is definitely the leader.
Yeah.
And took care of all of us. And I think in life, like we know what we know, And to know more, you need to go out and gain more experience and fail, and you learn more. And, you know, my dad was a little bit of a he lives in his world. He's a great guy. But my mom is the one that encouraged me to take risk and really lead me. And, you know, like you talk about
push you to be encouragement and better, and that voice in your head that always
but
inspired.
Also, like, you know, everyone has their own problems as well, and that can be projected onto other people as well. And that doesn't like make anyone bad. That's just part of being a human.
Baggage, yeah.
And it's funny because when you pray with our team, you talk about our Father, who's God, and being the father to the fatherless, and giving you that love that as men we need. We need that leadership from a strong man. And I think at some point, going back in time, maybe the Industrial Revolution, when men had to go out and just work, and
they weren't present.
They were raised by their moms, right?
Yeah.
So we never actually, like that, and before the Industrial Revolution, we were raised by our fathers in the work, like in fields, working, you know, in the farms with him, or side by side, or welding with him. But yeah, once we went into the Industrial Revolution, I think we started being raised by our moms, and you know, that's trauma on men that exists. And that's why it's important for men's group and men to come together. Hey, how can we have a bond? Because if you see girls, they got an amazing bond and they complement each other. Men are a little bit different. So again, I have so much grace for everyone, especially my father. I love him very much. But where a lot of my gratitude comes from is my mom, because she embodied every powerful aspect of a human that I've ever experienced. And that comes with a lot of sacrifice and being very selfless too, you know, doing it for other people. So yeah, that's, I mean, we could probably go off in a whole another thing there, but it's very important. And you learn too. You learn from people, like the beautiful qualities about them, and you try to extract that. And if there is something about someone, you try to understand it. Where are they coming from, you know, and what's their potential, but also what got them to that certain place, and how can I learn from that too, you know? Because if we only know what we know and it gets us somewhere where we don't want to be, then I mean, there's lessons and blessings and everything. So wherever life takes you, if you just allow it to take you there without the lessons and blessings and extracting that, you're going to stay there. And I think my mom encouraged me to be the student, and always, like, when people got bullied at school, like, I would take them home and we would help them out. And we have people that still come to my house, and my mom is like their second mom. Or they come, I've had people show up at my house asking me for me, and she's like, "Who are you?" And it's been 15 years since we were on that school bus together, you know, but they remembered me because I sat next to them when they were being bullied.
Isn't it funny when you just love on people? It's like normally the people sometimes, like, that could be your biggest enemy at first, ends up being some of your best friends down the road, because all they needed was that one person to, like, pour into them, and then they'll be loyal forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
You almost got me bawling my eyes out on.
I was close.
We held back. But I mean,
Let's talk about the time your mom first held you. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't remember that.
I'm just kidding. All right, I know we only got a little bit of time left, and Brandon, thanks. You did exactly what I was hoping to today, was really people getting to know you, because, I mean, it's funny. I'm out in San Antonio at a conference, and, you know, everybody I talk to is like, Brandon, you know, who do you love? Who do you just find so infectious on the team? Brandon. Like, who should we put on the calendar? Brandon. So you are embodying exactly everything you're talking about, and you and I have gone down hard roads with hard conversations where it's, you know, the heat gets up, but then we know how to bring it down, because we're trying to figure out how to best accomplish the same goal and mission, which is usually always in the right direction. It's just, you know, it's like anything, like, how do we better our communications so that we can be strongest in the future, right? So it's just like a marriage. So when you think about your leadership role here at Red Rock. Let's talk a little bit about Red Rock, like what you do here. Like what
Yeah.
do you do? What's your day-to-day look like? What do you see as your like greatest strengths in leadership, and how did you come into an industry, by the way, 2 years, two-time Golden Door Award winner, which is 2.5 million in sales, and to do that in your first year, going to Utah, winning a very, what in the industry we would look at as a high award. What did you see your role in Red Rock is, and what has Red Rock's role been to support you in that, and what makes all that kind of like come together and stuff like that?
Well, I think with anything, like leading from the front is the best thing. So when I first came here, even though I was a new guy, I still wanted to understand, hey, what's possible with this job and how can I lead from the front in that regards. But also, you find the best guy in the company too, and you extract and you learn from them, and you find the good in every person and you extract and learn from that. And now if you can do that with every person in the room around you, you have all the abilities of the
like sucking superpowers.
Yeah, and I think everyone should do that because there's so many amazing things about every person. So leading from the front and extracting the good in everyone to learn and be a better student of the game, right, is one thing. But also high tides raise all ships too. So if I can help everyone by setting the bar, then everyone can see what's possible, right? Like, doing a backflip on a dirt bike was impossible, and then someone did it, and then someone did a double backflip, and it's like when the human brain recognizes
what's achievable.
Yeah, like the gap of what's achievable, and someone does it, it just inspires, and it's just crazy how much it pulls out more out of us that we never thought was possible. So I think that's my goal, is lead from the front at all times. How you do anything is how you do everything. So I try to just give it my all at all times, and no matter with what I'm doing, how can I be more useful is really my biggest goal every day. And that can be literally helping a family with their roof and eating dinner with them and crying at the table with them and praying with them and connecting with them on life. I did their roof, but like that's what it's about. I think just getting close with everyone, and then that shows loyalty in your community, and that's how we get more business too. So even though I am very driven and I work hard, I think I'm really intentional, which gives me more blessings than the hard work, to be completely honest. But I'm also not afraid to go out there and put in the work. So
no, definitely not.
There's a spiritual aspect.
It's funny, I don't know why this like picture came to my mind. Like as you're talking about like you're kind to everybody and you pour into everybody. So we planted flowers for Mother's Day, and some of them are out under the porch, and we're not, we have drip lines and sprinklers on everything else, but there's these good amount of flowers that we have to fill up with a water can. And I'm sitting there, and it's a pretty big water can, and I've got it under one faucet, and it takes forever. And I'm like, it'd be cool if there's a bigger faucet or 5 faucets that pour into this thing so I could go water my flowers better, quicker. And it's funny, I've told the guys, I don't know why that visualization came into my mind, but like I tell these guys, when you pour into everybody, or you don't attach yourself to one person but to everybody, imagine how much more water you'll get if you have 5, 6, 7 pouring into you at the same time. So I don't know, weird visualization, but that's what came to mind.
Yeah,
I
it's funny.
Had to fill that up this morning.
It's funny you say that. I literally got when I was younger, I got my mom a bunch of like flower seeds and herbs and perennials for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And guess what? We still have to this day a beautiful garden that my mom and all the neighbors compliment the garden. But it's that was from me being a little boy, getting some seeds, but that's what life is, right?
Planting seeds.
Yeah, planting seeds and watering them, and people in the neighborhood get to enjoy the beauty of the garden, compliment it. But there's a cause and effect to everything. So
and hopefully, long after we're dead, those seeds, if we water them right, give them plenty of sunlight, people will still get to enjoy them for many years.
Yeah, and I think that's the real mission of what we're doing here at Red Rock Roofing. If I was to be completely honest, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you too. All right, I know we got to kind of wrap things up. Brandon. And I'm just going to say, like, I run across a lot of people in my life. I get to have a lot of good conversations. I am so humbled and honored when guys of his nature give me a compliment to say, you know, what the way I can inspire him. But I think that's certainly a mutual thing. Um, First of all, man, I'm really proud of you. You know, there's a lot of roofing companies in Colorado. There's a lot of people doing great things, and when you find guys like this, and we have a really great team at Red Rock, guys. It's Brandon is, you know, upper echelon, but as far as our team goes, I mean, we do have an amazing team. We really do stand for greatness, and you know, and I always give that praise back to my guys, and you know, I'm honored that they give it back to me, but. Um, I would like to just really say, Brandon, if you ever, like I said, get the chance to talk to him for 5-10 minutes and just see the genuine smile. You know, if you ever get a chance to hug him, the guy gives the best hugs that are like real sincere and genuine. Will give you words of wisdom for whatever you're going through. I mean, we were at a luncheon yesterday and just getting to talk to this guy who just quit drinking, and I mean, we spent 5 minutes with him. He shared like a line or two. I shared some stuff out of my study. In 5 minutes, the guy sincerely was just, wow, thank you guys. You told me something I needed to hear because I was starting to struggle again, and you just changed that.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, if you could just give a takeaway to the audience today about like anything you want, whether it's standing for greatness, if you want people to know something, if you were going to share one last words of wisdom, like what would that be? And then if you wouldn't mind telling the audience to please share and subscribe to this podcast, I would be very grateful.
Yeah. Well, hit the link, subscribe to the channel, wherever the link is. But I would say my advice would be to be kind to everyone. You never know what people are going through. And we're all part of this funnel of something greater. You know, some people call it God, some people call it manifestation. All of these things are the same thing, right? And if we can tap into that more and help each other out, I think we've lived our purpose if we can do that. Make it about other people, not about us. And again, I learned that from my mom. So but that's what the thing is we extract wisdom and we share wisdom. And I think that's what we should continue to do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you've heard it here. That's what standing for greatness truly looks like. I appreciate that. And I got one last question for Brandon. You've been with Kelsey for a long time now. When are you going to put a ring on it?
Kelsey's going to kill me. I got to do a timeline now.
All right.
I'm coming home. I'll see you soon.
Stay tuned.
We'll put the ring on as soon as I get home.
All right, guys.